Hello and welcome to this episode of the Biological Channel. This is your host, Thomas Kent Kruger. Today's episode, titled, What is the Primary Division in Science? I'm here to explain that. It's pure and applied science. This is take number 3. First, I got to keep it at an angle or it's going to rotate and I can't rotate it back. And on the first take, my audio cut out. So I'm going to run through this real quickly. Let's maintain some distance. Pure and applied science. This is my genius. Pure science. Like a lot of these guys. Before you watch this video, you really need to go to my playlists on my channel and watch it. You'll see a playlist, only one video in it. Playlist is titled Truth About Science. You need to watch that video so that you understand what I'm talking about. This video shows you the truth about, the frauds of science, applied science, the dimwits versus us geniuses. The famous Professor Dyson doesn't have a PhD. He went around the PhD system. He's still a professor of physics. He may be no Fermi or whatever, but the guy knows all about it. These people don't want you in their club. You need to watch these 2 videos so you really understand what I'm talking about here, about the fact that almost everything you know about science is bogus. It's all frauds and stuff like that. It's also, you might want to obtain a copy of this book, got to watch that rotation. The History of Science by Bernard Cohen, PhD. Yeah, I know I blew that. I'm scribbling out so quickly. I do these things to try to do in one take, but first time, like I said, Bernard Cohen invented his own area of PhD, the history of science. Read that book, because the founders of modern science, the rationalists and so on, they saw science and nature and God as the same thing. And it's all you atheists, you're primarily the people. They say 60%. Like I told you before, it's you dimwits, you atheists in applied science that publish all this garbage science. That's the problem. You are the problem. Is that you're not very bright like us guys. Okay. I'm just compressing like crazy here. I want to get this over with and get it uploaded. This is how you do pure science. And so, a long time ago, they say, Christopher Columbus discovered that the earth was curved round. No, thousands of years ago, simultaneously, lots of little boys, doubt it was girls due to culture, sitting on the docks of the bays of the world, noticed that at first they would see the tip of the mast and then the sail and then the whole boat. And they would think, why didn't I see that, 20 miles away or 100 miles away? Well, that's because the curvature of the earth is 16 feet per 5 miles. 16 feet, 5 miles, you can't see it. See? Let's go ahead and jump ahead here. I want to back up here now. I've made the occasional mistake here and there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll do errata sometime later. Like I said, 57% one time when it was 53 really was irrelevant. And please, many of you are asking me technical questions in applied science, asking about elemental and stoichiometry and stuff like that, or old stuff that I've taught 1,000 times. I really don't want to go over that again. All about the yield. I just need to remember the yield. I need to remember the objectives. Okay, the objectives. It's explaining, teaching a whole new group. Go learn it from somebody else. I really don't have time. I'll help you as much, but I'm only going to give you the critical factors and stuff. Pure science. Let's get on with it. Most of you are so poorly educated, you think that Benjamin Franklin was a president just because he's on a $100 bill. No. Benjamin Franklin did the early work in electricity, the theory of electricity, that old kite thing. He had other devices, which you'll see them in the history of science. You can find them there. And so, and he was never president of the U.S., but he was named the plenipotentiary to France. And due to the slow communication problems, his words and his signature and his dictates held the same power as the President of the United States. Because Franklin, one of his applied science from the pure was the invention of the lightning rods, which saved the cathedrals and churches of Europe, which they had to rebuild, many of them, hundreds of them every year from lightning strikes. And you can see on old houses all over the place. Around here, you can still see those old. So, pure science. Faraday, another one that didn't need these idiots, the PhD system. Michael Faraday was like the majority of us pure scientists are autodidactic, because this little cluster, I'm not going to say the F word here, this little cluster of dimwits that keep selling you this bogus science, only about 1 out of 14 papers in the National Library of Medicine, I can vouch that stuff is junk, garbage, obsolete, produced only to provide. Really, watch that video and you'll understand why so many of us will not endorse mainstream science. It's those of us who are geniuses in pure science and know how to analyze. I'll get on that later if I have the time. Let's get on with it. Faraday, as a child, worked for a bookbinder who specialized in publishing or binding scientific books and encouraged young Michael Faraday to read them. He didn't say, keep your filthy little hands off them. He encouraged Faraday to read them in his off time. Sir Michael Faraday did really critical work early on in chemistry. The Queen of England commanded him to make his famous poison gas, phosgene gas, for the Crimean War. He refused, but yet she still put him up in one of her cottages, or what you would call a McMansion in his old age. He discovered field theory, which everything depends on. This communication depends on Faraday. You people, I ask young people all the time, they're even in college, about Michael Faraday. All they know is about Tesla. Tesla was a showman. They even still use the Faraday cage in his shows. All he did was Faraday, besides field theory, chemistry, he also made the first electric motor and the first electric generator. As far as helping human beings in pure science and applied science, I know that I'm right up there with Faraday. I discovered the cure for only correct cure for cancer, and explained how God gave us the cure for cancer, arachidonyl ethanolamide. I'll never be ranked up with Faraday. He had to fight. Faraday was twice elected to the Royal Society of Natural Philosophy. That means science. And this jerk, Sir Humphrey Davy, was the only person who twice voted against him. Our local newspaper wrote published a quote from Sir Humphrey Davy that really, Humphrey Davy was making himself look like a good guy. Then I called the editor and told him what an envious jerk he was, and told him the whole Faraday. Faraday was given Davy's laboratory because Davies was a dumbass. PhD dumbass. You get on here and try to, all you people that follow Elon Musk and so on, if you can't tell that, like his solar city and all that stuff, if you can't tell that's one of the worst solar designs and stuff, you keep investing in this tax thief right here, in Elon Musk and the Tesla, you're just a nut job. Now let's get down to Einstein. I don't know it. Einstein was okay in pure science in the beginning, but he ignored the warning of Alfred North Whitehead. He warned that the greatest sin in philosophy is reductionism. It's natural in your intellectual development to go through a reductionistic phase, but if you get caught there, you become delusional. Einstein was delusional. Michio Kaku at the Crack University of New York is delusional because he thinks he can get explain the whole universe in a 1-inch equation. You can't do that. I use this analogy when lecturing to my students, that knowledge is like a liquid. Liquids are nearly incompressible. Gases and solids can be compressed. Knowledge cannot be compressed very much, or you lose the truth in it. You lose the truth in it. So remember, this is the primary division. This is where my genius lies. And if you get trapped in the delusion that you think that you know it all and can compress it, because this is complex chemistry. If you think that you have simple answers, you're delusional. That's why my videos are never really going to get very short. So, thank you. Have a good day, and I hope this sucker didn't rotate on me. And hopefully the audio won't go out. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode for my regular subscribers. My best to you all. Well, all the intelligent people.